You guys are good.
All right, the show is on, Brandon.
It's on, folks are streaming in.
We're streaming, we're live.
Yes, all right, live across the internet. The Tinq and the Uncat show.
There we go.
Wow.
Well,
Well,
happy
fun to be back here with
holidays.
you, doing it again, right? Running it back for the second or third year in a row.
That's right. We're back together and we're merry this time.
That's right. Yes, we got the
We're,
shirt on.
we're
So happy,
merry.
happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. Hope you guys are all well. Brandon and I were making jokes about, hey, if you have kids, we know that you're sick. Hope you guys are feeling better or on the mend.
Yeah, maybe that's why the kids get like 2 or 3 weeks off for the holidays, just to like take a break, right? Just like
Reset.
get some distance, reset, get healthy
Yeah.
before they go
Yeah.
back in January.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we have quite a few folks that have registered for this event, so we're very excited to have you all. We're going to give it a couple of minutes as you guys come in. Maybe you guys can tell us what are you guys up to for the holidays? You want to text us, chat us, let us know what the holiday plans are. Brandon, what are you doing?
So I am here in Knoxville, Tennessee. So if you want to let us know where you're calling in from, that's always fun too. Just post it in the chat,
Yeah.
and I'll do that in a second. And our plans are to probably just stay put for the holiday. There's been quite a bit of travel this year from Uncat for conferences, right? But also just general travel. So it'll be nice to have a little bit of a staycation. And
Oh, that does sound really nice.
yeah, we're near the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, so it'll be fun to get in the park. Maybe we'll get some snow.
Ooh.
And yeah, get out in the forest a little bit. What about you?
Nice. Yeah, we're kind of laying low too, spending time with some family around Thanksgiving. We also traveled up to the mountains, which was super nice, and we just kind of laid low. I think I'm with you. We've just been kind of running around everywhere, and we're ready to just have a chill holiday.
Right. That
Yeah.
does feel
Eh,
like that season. So,
yeah,
no, awesome. Okay. There we go. Knoxville and City of Angels.
that's right. So, think we want to give it another minute or two, Brandon? What do you think?
I'm good to just kick off. I think we're ready if you
Yeah,
want to. Yeah, I think we've
wonderful.
got. So, just as a heads up to everybody, obviously, thank you all for spending some time with us today. Hopefully, share a few tips that'll be useful to you. And obviously, we'll show demos of both Tinq and Uncat. All right. Tracy's plan is to get Uncat restarted
Woohoo!
and enjoy the pain meds from the dentist
Oh,
yesterday. Okay.
that's
Now that's a
that's nice,
Tracy's got a
Tracy.
plan. That's a I
I
like it.
love
Well,
it.
hopefully the pain will go away. I mean, I don't know what kind of dentist appointment it was, but I know the feeling. Um,
Yeah.
but now I was just saying, thank you all for joining us, of course. And then we will circulate a recording. So if you have colleagues that you want to share this with afterwards, or you just want to relive it for yourself, the highlights, we'll share a recording. We'll also share the slide deck out to everybody so that you'll have it. Usually those questions come up pretty early on, so we'll make sure you get a copy. But with that, yeah, kick it off.
All right, let's do this thing. Thank you all for joining. As Brandon has said, just to let me know when you guys can see my screen.
Looks good on my side.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to talk about some technologies to save your bottom line. We're going to start off with giving you a few tips on goal setting and prioritization, automation strategies, and then we're going to do some demos of Tinq and Uncat. So we're rounding up the year 2024, and everyone likes to do goal setting ahead of the new year. So let's talk about SMART goals. Uh, this is the best way to configure your goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. SMART goals. This helps you prioritize and make sure that you're staying on track and focusing on everything that you need to do, while also making sure that you're accountable for achieving your time-bound targets. Um, some of the I mean, this can go on. You can really put this into your personal life or your professional life, but it's allowing you to make sure that you stay aligned on your goals and you have something to actually quantify it with. So one of the examples we've talked about as a business owner, if you're an accountant or you have a small business, customer satisfaction is top of mind. So a SMART goal example for that could be that you're improving customer satisfaction ratings by 25%. So we have a measurable goal within the next 9 months, which is time bound. And of course, it's relevant because You're tracking how you're training the employees on the effectiveness of their communication. You're looking into the customer inquiries, and you're also getting that customer feedback through the surveys. So it's not only specific, but it's measurable, achievable, and relevant and time bound. The biggest takeaway here is organizing and prioritizing your goals allows you to achieve more and become more productive. And it's actually quite striking. A study by the University of Illinois found that people who prioritize their tasks can complete their tasks in 35% less time than those that don't prioritize. 35%. That's crazy. So if you think about it, just think about your daily routine. If you aren't prioritizing, you might find yourself getting distracted by opening up just one more email, or maybe you're opening up a Slack message, or maybe you just grab your phone and respond to a text or pop up social media. There's a constant a constant space for us to get distracted. So allowing us to really stay focused and prioritize and organize your day can help you achieve, again, so much more. Um, and something that's really helped is creating calendar blocks. I love calendar blocks. I don't know if you use Google Calendar, Outlook, or what have you. Color coding really helps, but if you block out specific times of your day to do certain things, then you psychologically know that you have to complete these tasks within that hour of time. Now, everyone says that's impossible. People are going to call you, people are going to text you. There may be, it's inevitable to to avoid all distractions, but it will allow you to stay focused and say, you know what, maybe right now during my hour block of emails, I don't necessarily need to respond to that Slack message that's not urgent, or pull up my phone for a text message. Really try to hone in on that time for those specific things. So, for example, maybe you're an email person in the morning. So you block off that morning time for your emails. And then after that, you're going to look at your invoicing. And then thereafter, you'll look at your reporting, or you'll look out your timesheets, whatever that is. But really thinking about, how do I typically organize my day, and then creating those blocks of time. You'll find that you don't need to respond to those emails or those Slack messages every time. It's just become this habit, right? We're all guilty of this, where we just pull up the phone. It's like, it's so easy. I'll just respond to this email. And then you get distracted from the real things that you need to do. So think of this concept of the fives. Think of 5 things that you want to prioritize for the day, and really block off time to do that, and see how much more that you can achieve and be productive in the new year. Brandon, I'd be curious to ask you, how have you ever tried calendar blocking, and what are some things that have helped you actually prioritize and stay focused on your goals?
Yeah, I mean, as luck would have it, we're in an Uncat calendar block now. So I typically will block off several hours, multiple days a week, just dedicated to demos for Uncat, right? Because to your
Yeah.
point before, there's always going to be inbound email. There's always going to be some tickets to take care of and make sure we get answers back in time. We've got Slack, which is very active, but I want to make sure
Hmm.
that we keep some space for demos, right? For existing customers that have some questions about special new clients, but obviously for new clients that want to evaluate, new firms that want to evaluate Uncat, I want to be able to show them the features that they need to know about in order to get set up. And so
Yep.
this falls into one of those times, right? So the webinar is taken up a portion of that dedicated Uncat demo time. But yeah, for me, certainly, because we're all juggling a million things all at once. It's toward the end of the year, so it's getting even crazier because you've got days that are blocked for holidays. And yeah, for those of us with kids in school, there's a lot of end of year concerts and plays
Hmm.
and all that good stuff. So it is important for me to keep the trains running,
Yep.
that all the calendars are on there. And then from an internal perspective, we share calendars as a team. So we know when there's backup available, right? Someone's got a free cycle. Hey, can you take this call? I got double
Hmm.
booked. As well as, I mean,
Oh, that's
it's
perfect.
inside the family, right? Where it's like, hey,
Yeah.
who needs to get picked up and when, and how do we make all this stuff work? So yeah, I usually say if it's not on the calendar, it's unlikely to happen. I'm
It's so true.
driven by the
I'm the same
calendar,
way.
vice versa. So yeah, 100% agreement with
Yeah,
what you're talking about.
yeah, and balancing the professional and personal life. So color coding those can really help. Well, if maybe it's a client calendar block, maybe it's an internal calendar block, maybe it's a personal calendar block. I tend to use the color codes for those specific categories to help me also look at my calendar and not get crazy and say like, oh my gosh, what am I triple booked? What is happening now? You can kind of help kind of visually see that as well. So thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
All right, so automate repetitive tasks. Daily, we have things going on, even in small to medium sized businesses. If you're an accountant, you have multiple clients that you're juggling, and you have these repetitive tasks that are continuing day to day to day. Well, 47% of small to medium sized businesses in the US are actually investing and prioritizing software purchases to actually help them enhance that productivity for reducing manual tasks. Um, we all know it. There are things that we can absolutely streamline, whether it's AI, maybe your firm or your business is looking into AI to help automate certain tasks, or maybe it's a software like Uncat looking to um, prioritize the organization of your transactions, or maybe it's Tinq to help you with timesheets and manually and reducing the manual tracking of time for tasks and projects. So software can help you do a lot of things. I know that people can get a little bit intimidated saying there's so much software out there, but there are actually a lot of software platforms that can also help you research specific applications for specific things to help you out. So I can actually I'll chat I'll put it in the chat box, but there I don't know if you've ever heard Dimo, Dimmo. Dimo is a great tool for you to actually see uh, demos on demand of specific softwares, and there's quite a bit out there. But if you need any help, maybe there's specific actually tasks that you're looking to automate and you don't know where to look, feel free to chat in the box there, and we can help you out and try to help you do some research to find that kind of software. But data entry is a huge one for everyone. Um, Automating that can help you reduce the errors, make you stay more compliant. Reporting, of course, if you're doing Excel sheets all day and you need help with automation, that can absolutely help you, of course, staying accurate and compliant as well. And then invoicing and payment processing. I just actually heard a story the other day about actually checks and there's this thing going on during the holidays where people are changing the amounts for the checks and cashing those, and there's a whole bunch of fraud going on. So if you're able to actually automate that and look into software for invoicing and payments, that can absolutely help you there too. So with that being said, let's talk about some software to help you automate some of those repetitive tasks and bring some uh, uh, and reclaim your time with that. So I'm going to hand it over to Brandon. Brandon, do you want to do the demo first on your end?
Oh, I certainly can. Yeah, we can run it either way. I'm happy to do the demo first. I mean, what I can say to this slide is that Uncat really originated from a pretty basic time motion study by my co-founder, Adam Slack, who runs a firm called Two Roads. And Two Roads is very tech forward, right? They were the first firm of the future way back in 2016, where Intuit awarded firms that designation starting that year at what was called QuickBooks Connect and is now called Intuit Connect. So Adam's built a tremendous firm, high growth, serves their clients really well, hundreds of clients. And about 5 years ago, I was asking him, hey, you've done so much, right? So much tooling inside your firm. What's still snagging you up, right? What's bothering your team? Where do your clients need help? And one of the first things that he talked about was uncategorized transactions. He's like, listen, we're sending out, give or take 350 spreadsheets a month, right? If we want to close a month, we're exporting those into CSV or XLS format. We're sending them out to clients. The clients are not particularly thrilled to receive those. It's not their favorite part of the accounting bookkeeping process. We have to chase them for responses back because some are not as responsive as others. And when we finally do get it back, the bookkeeping team's burning out because then they have to copy paste each of the client's individual answers to the corresponding transactions in QuickBooks. And he's like, surely there's a better way, or we need to find a better way because everyone's upset. And so that sparked the idea for Uncat, which at its most basic is an app that syncs uncategorized transactions from QuickBooks, notifies the client so that they can respond. What was this transaction? Do I have a receipt for it? Do I have any additional information that will help clarify? Why did I spend this money at Amazon or Walmart or Target or Home Depot or Lowe's? Why did I receive this deposit via Venmo or Cash App or Square or Stripe, et cetera? And that way, the bookkeeper accountant can read that description, see that receipt, and say, oh, I get it. I'll put it in the right category, and then I can close the books. And so it just, and then all that syncs back into QuickBooks. And so it's a really nice round trip sync process that's targeted at this problem that happens to be shared by close to 100% of CAS accountants and bookkeepers for almost all of their clients, right? It's not for everybody. There's some clients that have very few transactions, very low transaction volume, or you've been working with them for so long, you know what the client's doing, right? It's like you share a brain at that point. We've served them for 20 years. There are no uncategorized anymore. But for most clients that are out spending across lots of different stores, including places like Amazon with 6 million SKUs, or getting deposits from sources like Venmo, where it's really hard to tell, was that a reimbursement from a friend for a movie, or was that a payment from a customer for a product? It's really useful to have that communication channel open. So anyway, that's sort of the origin story of Uncat, aside from the fact that we just love cats. But I'm happy to show a quick demo of Uncat, and then we can pivot back to you and you can show a demo of Tinq. So let me
Sounds
pull up
great.
on my side and we'll give you guys a quick tour. Thankfully, it's a super easy app to set up and use. And so the demo accordingly goes very quickly. Can you see my screen okay? I think
Yeah,
so.
looks great.
Yeah. So this is the homepage. This is where the journey starts, right? I was looking for an image that evoked herding of cats, because that's what so many bookkeepers and accountants told us that they were doing to get information back from clients. It feels like I'm herding cats. We're like, this is perfect because our app is called Uncat. Instead, I found an image of a cat doing the herding, so it's kind of fun and ironic and makes people smile. In fact, we actually sell quite a few T-shirts with that cat on it. But this is the homepage. You can start a free trial here. Obviously, you're going to see a quick demo today. If you want a longer demo, feel free to book time with me, and I'm happy to show you on a one-to-one basis. But when you come in to start a free trial, it's super easy because we'll prompt you to sign in to QuickBooks Online, right? Sign in with Intuit or sign in with Xero. And that way, you're authenticating with your trusted provider for your books, for your clients, and you come straight into Uncat, and then you can then choose the first client that you want to connect. And then I'll highlight this point because it was key learning we had 5 years ago. When we invite your client, we just send them a notification that has a magic link in it. And so the key for us is we want your client to engage with the platform and adopt it and use it. That way you'll benefit. If they don't, then you're just sort of stuck. And so by putting a magic link in that notification, all they have to do is click it, and that takes them straight into Uncat. So the client doesn't have to have a login to QuickBooks. They don't even have to have a login to Uncat. Anytime we notify them, that link will be there, and they'll click it, take them straight in. That way they can answer for those transactions and go straight back to growing their company, which is what they really want to spend time on. So we like to keep it dead simple for clients, and as a result, get you the information back that you need to run your company. So, okay, now that you've invited the client, how do you configure Uncat for that client? Thankfully, you can fully configure the app because no two clients are identical, right? So we're going to look for certain accounts to sync in transactions from QuickBooks. So typically these would be like Ask My Accountant or Uncategorized Expense, but you can click in here and choose exactly the accounts from the chart of accounts that you want to sync in. So that means when credit card transactions come through the bank feed and you're reconciling them either manually or by rule, by bank rule, as soon as any of those transactions hit these accounts, we bring them straight into Uncat. And then we will go back 3 months by default. So we'll bring in all the uncategorized transactions from today back 3 months ago. But if you need to go back further and do a cleanup for a new client, which is a pretty popular thing to do this time of year, or early next year, or right before tax time, then you can choose a date in the past, right? So if you need to sync back a year or two, you can easily do that here. I'll mention briefly, you can also sync in transactions that are missing some other key piece of information, but they're not necessarily uncategorized. So maybe you've categorized a bunch of transactions, but you really need to ask the client for a piece of information like a class, where you really want to get receipts for every transaction. This is especially applicable for our friends in Canada that collect receipts for every expense. Then you can choose to sync in transactions missing a certain field from right here. So with that, there's a couple other key client settings I want to show you. One is notification settings. So we send out notifications weekly. For some folks on the call, you might be thinking, well, we close the books monthly, so we can switch it to monthly, and you certainly can. That said, our experience and our advice, therefore, and our default is to do it weekly, because that way the client can actually remember the transaction. When it gets to be about 30 days old, they're like, I've traveled 4 times. I don't really remember. And if they can't remember and provide you with information, you're kind of guessing at that point too, which is not what you want. So we recommend a weekly cadence of notifications. We only notify the client if there are transactions that need their attention. So if they've already done it, we're not going to bother them. Then we get to dashboard settings. This is where you can really configure the app. The default is we just want a description back from the client, a receipt if they've got one, but a description is sufficient. But if you need more information, you can always tick this power switch, and this gives you control over which fields from QuickBooks should the client see, which ones do you want them to update, and which ones do you want to require them to update. So that way, for example, here, now we're not only just requiring a description, we're also requiring them to add a class for every transaction. So it gives you control to get back the information you need in order to close the books for this particular client. And then lastly, client users. You can invite as many users as you want. Uncat billing is just $9 a month per connected client, but under each client, you can have as many users as you want. This is where you invite them. You can add a phone number, and I point that out just because some clients are not awesome at email. Maybe they're not even using email in their business anymore. So by texting them a notification, that helps to cut through the clutter. Like we see a huge increase in engagement and adoption when the client's phone number is in here. The other thing it allows them to do, which is super cool, and I'll show you in the dashboard in a second, is to forward receipts to Uncat via text message. And then we can parse them and match them to transactions, which is nice, right? When I was in sales, traveling around the country, taking pictures of, the gas pump because the receipt wouldn't print out, but I still wanted to get reimbursed. It's nice to be able to send that straight by text message into a system like Uncat to process it for you. You can also do things like assign particular transactions, like this user is only going to see expenses that originated from their credit card that are now uncategorized. They don't need to see everything else from headquarters, but they should be responsible for their own spending. So they're just going to see the right transactions. Okay, so that's client settings. The overall settings are super easy. It's going to show you a list of your connected clients, and then it's going to show you a list of your colleagues in your firm. So you can invite as many folks in your firm as you want, and you can assign those people to clients so that they only see the clients they're responsible for in Uncat. There's also 3 levels of permission. Firm admin controls the app. Client admin can invite clients and change the client settings that we just looked at. And a team member can update transactions in the dashboard, but they're not going to touch settings. Lastly, certainly not least, this is where you can upload a logo for your firm, change the color of Uncat, and add the name of your firm. That way, as soon as clients come in, they're seeing your brand color, your logo, they know they're in the right place. All right, so now to the main event, the dashboard, and we'll go to that same client that we already configured in settings. You will see here the highlighted transactions are ones that the client has updated. So based on their description, we can now come in and say, knowing that it's that, we can now categorize the transaction. This is the full chart of accounts for that client from QuickBooks. We can choose a class. We can expand it and choose billable, tax, customer, location, right? All the fields you might want to update. And then when you're done, click save. If you have a question back for the client, just leave a message. That way it'll show up on that transaction. So if you have a specific question like, hey, so at Lowe's, were you buying that for property 1 or 2? Or so what's going on here? You can ask that question. They can answer in line. You can also see attachments. So if there are any attachments, there'll be a little number like this, and you can view those attachments. Those are all going to sync through as attachments on the transaction in QuickBooks, which is handy. You can sort, you can search for transactions as you would expect. You can also do cool things like select transactions and split them by category or by class. You can also select multiple transactions and apply a bulk rule. Like I want to select these 20 transactions and they all have the same location or they all have the same class. So it's a way to save some time that way. So that's the main Uncat dashboard and why we're known in the market. 2 other tabs that we added over the last couple of years that have become popular. One are requests. This was an answer to the question, hey, I want to ask my client for some more information. It's not related to a transaction though. Can I do it and not go through email anymore? Yes, you can. You can create a new request here. For example, can you send me a W-9 for that new vendor? Can you send me a bank statement for last month that didn't sync into QuickBooks? Can you send me the minutes for the last board meeting? Stuff like that. So if you have requests for your clients, you can add them here. That way, while they're in Uncat answering transactions-based questions, they can also give you the information you need on this tab. And then lastly, we added this year receipts, and this has been a big win. So this is a place where a client can come in and upload a receipt. So they can drag and drop or select from their computer. They can email it in to their custom Uncat email address, or if their phone number is in Uncat, they can text it in. No matter which of the three methods they use, Uncat will parse that receipt. We will extract the vendor, the date, the amount, and we'll look for a match in QuickBooks or Xero. And when we find that match, we're going to label it like this transaction. Hey, we found a match. And then you can click to match it, and it will upload the receipt to this found transaction in the GL. If it doesn't find a match, like the second transaction, it means that transaction might not have come through into the general ledger yet, might still be in the bank feed, might be waiting for the next reconciliation. You can leave it here, no problem. Or it could mean it's not going to come through. Maybe it was a cash transaction. It's not going to show up when the bank feed reconciles. So from here, you can also publish a new transaction in QuickBooks. So you can click and create a new expense or a new bill. So we really built this because our customers, right, thousands of accounting and bookkeeping firms basically said, hey, what you've solved for Uncategorized, that manual process like we were talking about before in the slide, we got the same problem with receipts. Clients are emailing us 10, 20, 50 receipts, and then we have to open up each individual one, find the transaction, match it ourselves, upload it. Waste of time. We don't do that anymore. We want to automate some of that process, semi-automated at least. So let the client upload the receipts, let Uncat do the work parsing it, and then we'll sync it as an attachment to all the correct transactions in QuickBooks. All right, so that's a wrap. There's lots of cool bells and whistles features around Uncat, but those are the three key things that we do: transactions, requests, and receipt. And hopefully, some of you may already be using it, in which case, fantastic. For those that aren't, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat and we'll get to those. And if you haven't tried it already, it's definitely a great time of year to do it because it can help you with month-end close or even mid-month if you start with it now. If you haven't closed November yet, you probably have. But if you're waiting to close December, give Uncat a try because it'll help close that month, but also help you close the year and get taxes in on time. So with that, I'll pass it back to you.
Awesome, Brennan. I love that everything is in one platform and it's so easy. You actually do have some questions there in the chat.
Okay, here we go. Let's see. Can you delete, skip transactions? Great question. We don't use the delete word, but you can hide them, right? So Uncat's not in the business of deleting anything from our side. You can obviously delete things directly in QuickBooks if you want, but we didn't want to take on that responsibility. So you can hide them in Uncat and they'll simply disappear from the dashboard. It's not going to affect the core transaction in QuickBooks though. If you actually need to delete a transaction, you do it from there. But yes, you can easily skip them just by hiding them in QuickBooks. You just select and then choose hide from that same action menu where the split option was or the bulk actions was. All right, hopefully that helps, Tracy. Let me know. Does it work with QuickBooks Desktop? It does. So we're one of the few apps out there that also connects with desktop. So it works with a QuickBooks Web Connector. We step you through the process of installing it. If you're hosted in the cloud with a firm like a WriteWorks or another, it'll work with that. If you're hosting it yourself on a server or a laptop desktop on your side or on the client side, it'll work there too. So if you have any questions, let us know on the desktop side, but we do have a nice 7-step through just to make sure you get it set up just right because it is installed software. So it's a little bit different than authenticating in the cloud like you would with QuickBooks Online or with Xero. All right, let me jump up and see a couple of the previous questions. How do you get each company credit card holder to see only their own card when there's only one credit card account? That's a good question. So if there's a way to differentiate the transactions in QuickBooks, then there's a way to differentiate them in Uncat. If they're all coming in on one stream into QuickBooks and you don't know who did it, you don't know if it's Sally or John that made that transaction, it's all in one, then we can't tell either. So it really depends on the QuickBooks side. If there's something that indicates that it's being made by a certain person, either by credit card number or there's some other way to differentiate, then you can move those into separate buckets, separate accounts, for example, on the QuickBooks side, and then you can assign them in Uncat. But if QuickBooks doesn't know, we don't know either. And yeah, thanks for posting the link for the trial start. Okay, that might have been it. Thanks for the heads up that it works great with desktop. It does. we were thrilled to get that working. And of course, desktops continued to evolve since we launched. So they made some changes in 2024, and we got up to date with those a few months ago. So there were some interesting things that were added to that new version, some more than you guys want to know, technical stuff, XML parsing, but it works really smoothly. So you're in good shape.
Awesome.
There we
Cool.
go.
Well, it looks like you have some Uncat fans there, and would love to show you a little bit about Tinq as well. So we've been talking a little bit about transactions, and today I'd want to share with you all Tinq, and Tinq actually will help your clients manage everything with team, project management, task management. We have a CRM, and we also have invoicing, which today I'm going to preview a release for you guys soon to be released. We're going to be also doing payment processing within Tinq as well. So think of Tinq as your small business suite. We manage everything from your team projects to also getting paid at the end. So starting with clocking in. So we do everything from timesheets. We do have integrations with QuickBooks as well as Gusto and Square Payroll. And as your team is working through all of the wonderful projects, you can stay organized with the projects that they're working on. We have task management as well, and have actually timed tasks. So you can see exactly what your team is spending time on through their tasks. But I want to show you real quickly how you can stay organized and stay in one platform with also tracking not only your internal team or your clients' internal teams, but also your clients, vendors, and contractors. So as you're coming into your contact list, you can see here, I have my happy client, and everything that's happening with my happy client, I can see as far as my client info, the pertinent contacts, multiple locations, any of the projects that we're working on with that specific client, and any of the estimates, invoices, or payments that have taken place with that client. So really nice dashboard here to manage everything that is going on with your client in one place. So if you or your team ever wanted to know what's going on with the happy client, are we finished with their project? Have we gotten that invoice estimate approved? Have we gotten paid for our invoices? All of that can be taken care of here in Tinq. And I want to show you how the estimates and invoicing process works. So we can take happy client here because we love those happy clients. And I'm going to go into sales and actually start with an estimate. So let's say that my client is in the AV industry or the construction industry. They're going to send out a bid. I'm going to create a new estimate here. I want to show you how easy this is. I'm going to select my happy client. If you had a specific project you wanted that estimate to be for, you can actually assign it to them. You can enter in, let's say this is the holiday project, and all of the information here regarding the estimate number, if you need to change that, if there's an expiration date for your bid. And you can front load all of the goods, services, and packages within the system so that when you click to select an item, you'll actually have all of them here as far as all goods and your services and your packages. So let's start with some goods here. So I am in AV. I'm going to start putting in my alarm panel here. Each of these items, you can customize descriptions, prices, if there's any discounts, if there's any taxes for specific location states or custom discounts, you can add all of that in the back end as well. But if you do need to make changes for each estimate, all of these fields are customizable. And we're going to go in here and also put in a service. Let's say we're going to put in our consultation there. And what's really neat about us that we've done a little bit differently is we've realized not everybody likes this list view. And sometimes, speaking of organization, you need to organize yourself a little bit differently as it relates to the bids or invoices. Some clients like to see it differently based on maybe certain milestones that they've hit. Maybe there's phases of a project, or perhaps there's a goods category or a services category. So we actually have what's called a grouping view. So this is a list view that we're looking at, where you see all of the items, all of the services, the goods are listed. But if we do a group view, you can see that the estimate has now allowed me to create specific groups as well. So maybe this is phase 1 of the project, and maybe I'm going to add another group that with blue, and this is going to be phase 2. So that way, again, you can simply organize the bids or the invoices that you need to send out to your clients. So we're going to go ahead now that I've created my estimate. I can go ahead and say that my client has approved that. So we can send that through email, say, hey, do you approve this bid? Everything looks good. I'm going to approve that. And then I can actually, once all of the work has been done in Tinq, we tracked our team's time for timesheets. We've tracked our projects, all of the time that has been allocated to those projects. And now I'm ready to actually convert this bid or this estimate into an invoice and bill my client. So you can see I can convert that to an invoice right here and there. And I can open up that invoice. And once that's been opened, I can actually send that to my client via email or shareable link. We like those magic links. You can text it out and they'll actually receive this invoice here and there. So you can see all of this custom. You can put your custom logo. You can do custom footers, custom colors as well. So you can be on point for your branding. But all of the items that we've added here, the pricing, and you can put your footer there. And again, you can share this via email or magic link, and you can choose to pay either through Google Pay. We also have ACH and card transactions as well. So this is a sneak preview, soon to be released. But if you are an early adopter and you are interested, we can give you a trial of this feature as well. So just let me know. But this is in beta, so we can absolutely allow you to play around with it and try it out for a bit. But again, it's super simple. You can see if some of your clients may not want to invest in a larger application, they can simply come in here, track all of their time, track all of their projects, and then of course at the very end get everything invoiced and paid through our system as well. So I'd like to also just quickly share with you our reporting capabilities. We are looking to enhance this a bit more as we make this payment feature a bit more robust as far as the types of data that we can allow users to actually pull. But we do have reports available as far as what types of invoices have been approved, have been paid for, those that are unpaid, that are pending, if you have any that have been rejected or drafted. And then, of course, looking at the estimates that have been sent out versus the ones that have been paid, and accounts receivable, just real quick dashboard of what's aging, and then sales by customers. So we do have a bit, but of course, we're looking to always enhance this. So if you are interested in trying out our payments feature, just again, give us a quick shout. Everything else is live as far as the estimates, invoicing, time tracking. All of this is live. The last piece of it, the payment processing piece, will be available in the next couple of weeks. So I'm really excited to give you guys a sneak peek of this. I do want to just quickly mention to you, we do have integrations for our timesheets capabilities for Gusto, QuickBooks, and Square Payroll. For the payment features and invoicing features, we do have integration with QuickBooks desktop as well. I know that came through a chat question. So pricing starts at just $4 a month for our timesheets features. And then of course it builds up to just $20 a month. All of this can work congruently. So you can work through all of the licensing and packages together. So if you have clients that are looking to use all of the features of the suite, wonderful. That would be up to like $40 a month. But if you solely just want to use invoicing, or you solely want to just use timesheets, all of those can be individually purchased as well, because it's all a modular system. So again, There's no other hidden fees, no other setup implementation fees that we all love seeing softwares like to sneak in. All of this is purely user-based, and if your clients also need to mix and match what each user needs to use, you can choose those licenses selectively as well. I'm going to show you that because that's a really important piece of our software. We really wanted to make this flexible and scalable. So if you had specific folks that maybe they didn't need to use maybe they don't need to use invoicing for their specific needs, or maybe they only needed to use um, just timesheets. Maybe they just needed to clock in. You can simply just select that license for them and pay for that license. So for instance, this is our licensing. So we have time and attendance, project management, and sales. Time and attendance starts at $4 a month, and sales, which includes our CRM estimates and invoicing, starts at just $16 a month. But here's my team. So I want to show you, if I have Alex who doesn't need project management and only needs time tracking and sales, I can simply just turn those on for him and purchase those licenses. If he doesn't need sales, I can just turn it off. So we wanted to make sure that no one was being forced to actually get a license that they're not going to use. You know, sometimes when you're implementing a new software that kind of force all these features onto you, maybe Alex just needs to clock in and do his work, and he has no business in project management and invoicing. So you can do that here in Tinq. So again, you can give everyone the ability to use the entire suite, or just make it very modular in our system. So I'm going to go ahead and pause and let you know that I do want to offer anyone that is interested in Tinq 3 months free. So I will give you access to the entire suite. So just send me a shout, as I said, and I can definitely set that up for you. I will personally make sure that you are set up for success. I'll help you with training and setup of the system in case you need some custom settings as well. We do, again, as Brandon said, have a lot of bells and whistles as well. Just to mention a few things that we do a little bit differently than maybe some other systems. A lot of the settings are customizable. You can have multiple admins with different types of layers of security. We also have multiple ways to actually make sure that to make sure that we have a biometric, and people that are actually clocking in are the folks that are in fact who they say they are. And all of this can be customizable in the back end. So let me show you just for an example. So if I look at my security permissions, I can give folks admin view, which will make them a super user, but I can also give them the ability to see and edit specific things. So you can see how far layered we are into the security. I know this is really important for folks with small to medium-sized businesses, because maybe they have a small but mighty team, but certain people need to see certain things in the system and don't need to touch other things. So security and customization is a really big thing that you'll see in our system throughout all of our features, and the ability to customize and make sure that people are using what they need to use and see what they need to see. So I'm going to pause there. Again, happy to do a demo, happy to give you guys a trial. And I'm going to go stop sharing and see if there are any questions here. So thank you guys all for hearing a little bit about Tinq. Let's see what's going on in this chat.
So you got a few questions. One from Tracy, which I answered from an Uncat perspective, but also you can answer from a Tinq perspective.
Sure.
Is there a version that a business can use on a standalone basis versus connecting via a bookkeeper accountant?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It can be user-based, or it can be a partner-based partner. So we have a partner program for accountants. If they need to actually see their client's perspective, they can actually go into the partner portal and see all of their clients in one dashboard. So yes, certainly it can be a partner perspective, but if you need a standalone, you can absolutely sign up as an individual as well.
Super. And then David asked in Q&A, And so Uncat integrates with Zero, but the question came in, so it might have been for Uncat, could be also for Tinq though. Integration wise, right? QuickBooks
Mm-hmm.
Online, Zero, Desktop. What are some of the platforms that Tinq connects with?
Sure. So, based on the feature set that you decide to move forward with, we have different integrations. But if you're doing time tracking, we integrate with Gusto, QuickBooks Online, as well as Square Payroll. The invoicing piece connects to QuickBooks Desktop, and we're also working on QuickBooks Online soon to be there. So those are our current integrations.
Okay, perfect. And then related question, David's asking about, because you said it supported revenue invoices, also job costing, question mark?
Yeah, so this is something that we're looking to enhance a bit more. We do it at a very basic level, David, but we will be enhancing this as far as our reporting capabilities.
Cool. Yeah. And for those that are following along at home, job costing is complex, right? We all know this. Folks
Yes.
that into it, and Zero will tell you the same thing. And so, yeah, the support that Tinq has now, and then obviously looking to add to it, supplement it going forward is exciting.
Yeah.
Question
Yeah.
from Joseph, looking to reclassify or looking to classify checks. Do you do that based on vendor ID? I'm not sure if that's
Hmm. I
for
think
you
that's
or
a
for
you
Uncat.
question. I think that's a you
It
question.
might be a me question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can certainly assign classes to checks. Um, you can also assign vendors to them. You can also assign customers. So you've got plenty of options, at least in the Uncat dashboard, for handling checks. I think the follow-up question um, was name. So yeah, you can do it based on vendor name, but you can also bring in the vendor ID numbers. Same with accounts, right? So we'll show you an account like uncategorized expense, but we'd also show you the account number if you want us to, if your accountant has set it up that way, or if you set it up for your clients that way. And Miriam, to your question, yes, we will make the recording available as well as the slides. So yeah,
Yeah,
we'll send that out
absolutely.
that way. You can catch up from the beginning if you need to. Not a problem.
And Tracy, I see that you're also looking for the CRM features. Um, Happy to do offline a little bit more about the CRM features in Tinq. I know that we're a little bit short on time, but if there's any specifics, maybe we can quickly go through it, or else let's do a demo together. All right.
Sounds
Well,
like a
we
plan.
went.
That's probably a good.
Yeah.
It's probably a good place to end, right? If anybody needs to do a
Yeah.
deep dive, right? If you've got special clients, special situation, have additional questions, I think two good paths, and you can do both at the same time. Which is one, you can certainly grab a demo on a one-to-one basis with either of us for Tinq or for Uncat, and you can also jump in and get a trial going. So I always tell people, I mean, the best way to test out software is to test out software. Get in, kick the
Hmm.
tires, make sure it aligns with your workflow and fits the needs of your clients. And get some client feedback, right? If they're, some of our early feedback when we launched 5 years ago was a client sent in, oh, I like this better. And I was like, that's like the best review of all time,
Yeah,
right?
that's so
No
good.
specifics, just I remember the old way and it's not as good as the new way. I like the new way better. It's like enough said. So if you're getting that feedback from clients, usually you'll stick with it, of course. So, but yeah, let us know how we can help and we'll circulate all this after the call.
Awesome. Hey, Tracy, send me a shout, and I think this would be a great simple solution for you. All right. Well, I think that we're good to go here. In case there's any other questions, feel free. I'm going to actually send my email in the chat in case you want to send me a quick email with any questions that you have, or you want to send set up a quick meeting.
There you go.
But
There's mine. All
cool.
right. We're in there.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules. I know holiday time gets crazy, so thank you for spending this 45 minutes with us. Hope you guys stay safe. Have a wonderful holiday, and we'll connect soon, hopefully.
That's right. Like the shirt says, stay merry.
Stay
Thanks,
merry.
everybody.